Picture this, a quiet afternoon in a park in Seoul. Children running, parents sitting. Everything feels calm until a child starts to cry. At first it's small, just a little frustration. A toy doesn't work, something doesn't go his way. And the mother, she does nothing. No yelling, no rushing in, no desperate whispers of "stop it right now." She just waits, calmly, like she knows something the rest of the world doesn't. And here's the thing, she does. Because Korean children are often known for their strong sense of discipline, emotional control, and awareness of others. Not because they're forced into obedience, but because of a parenting approach so subtle and so powerful that once you understand it, you'll never see your child's behavior the same way again. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll have a completely different way of responding when your child struggles. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is Korea, different culture. This won't work for me. And I get it. But here's what's fascinating. The core ideas behind this way of parenting, they're not cultural secrets. They're backed by modern child psychology. Researchers around the world have studied why some children regulate their emotions better than others. And the answer isn't strict rules. It isn't fear. It isn't even discipline. At least, not in the way most people think. Let's go back to that moment in the park. The child is crying, and the mother still hasn't stepped in. Why? Because she's not asking, "How do I stop this behavior?" She's asking something else, something most parents never think to ask. What is my child missing right now? Pause for a second, because that question changes everything. Most people see a meltdown and think, my child is misbehaving. But what if that's not true? What if your child isn't being difficult, but struggling? Maybe the child doesn't know how to wait. Maybe he doesn't know how to express frustration. Maybe he doesn't know how to calm himself yet. Because here's the truth. Children don't act out to make your life harder. They act out because they lack a skill. Emotional regulation, patience, communication. These aren't things children are born with. They have to be taught. And the moment you shift from stopping behavior to teaching the missing skill, everything changes. So instead of rushing in, she pauses, she watches, she gives him space, not ignoring him, not abandoning him, but trusting him. In many places, parents are taught to fix things fast. Child struggles, you step in. Child cries, you solve it. Child gets upset, you distract. And it comes from love. But here's the hidden message it sends. You can't handle this on your own. This mother does something different. She steps back. She observes. She allows the child to sit in the discomfort, just long enough to try. And then something small happens. So small most people wouldn't notice. The crying slows. The breathing changes. The tension softens. No shouting, no punishment, no force. Just space. Just trust. And in that moment, something powerful is built. Not obedience, not fear, confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't come from being told "good job," but from actually doing something hard. So the next time your child is frustrated, before you jump in, pause. Watch. Give them a few seconds. You might be surprised at what they're capable of. Because sometimes what looks like nothing is actually everything. And that's where calm begins. Connection before control. Here's where most people get this wrong. They see calm, emotionally controlled children and assume something about the parenting, that it must be strict, rigid, demanding. But the reality is the complete opposite. Because Korean parenting doesn't start with discipline. It starts with connection. Deep, consistent, emotional connection. Long before a child ever learns how to behave, they learn something more important. They learn, am I safe? Am I understood? Am I supported? And the answer, over and over again, is yes. In the early years, Korean parents stay close, not just physically, but emotionally. They pay attention. They observe. They respond. The child is not left alone to figure out the world too early. And this isn't about being soft. It's about building a foundation. Because here's what neuroscience shows us. A child who feels secure develops a nervous system that is more stable, more regulated, more capable of handling stress. Before we teach children how to behave, their brain is learning how to feel. So when a child knows deeply that they are safe, they don't need to scream to be heard. They don't need to act out to get attention. They don't need to push limits just to feel something, because they already feel it. Now go back to that moment in the park. Why was the mother so calm? Why didn't she panic? Why didn't she rush to fix it? Because she's not afraid of the emotion. This frustration, this discomfort is not dangerous. It's necessary. And more importantly, she knows her child feels safe enough to go through it. In many homes, parents try to control behavior first. Stop crying, be quiet, act properly. But when you start with control, without connection, you might get compliance, but you won't get calm. Calm comes from something deeper. It comes from a regulated nervous system, and that is built through connection. Korean parents understand this instinctively. They don't rush independence. They don't force distance. They build closeness first, and then, slowly, they introduce responsibility. It's a sequence. Connection first, structure second, not the other way around. Because when a child feels secure, structure doesn't feel like control, it feels like guidance. And over time, something powerful happens. The child doesn't just follow rules. They begin to understand themselves. They recognize their emotions. They manage their reactions. They become aware of others, not because they were forced to, but because they were taught from the inside out. So when that child in the park starts to calm down, it's not random. It's not luck. It's not personality. It's the result of something that's been built over time, quietly, consistently, moment by moment. Because once you understand this, you stop asking, how do I control my child? And you start asking, how do I connect with my child? And that question changes everything. How behavior becomes identity. Now here's the final piece, and this is where most parenting approaches fall apart. Because even if a child learns to calm down, even if they feel connected, there's still one question left. How does that become consistent? How does a child go from sometimes calm to this is who I am? The answer is simple: repetition. In Korean parenting, behavior isn't taught once. It's practiced daily, in small, almost invisible ways. You'll notice something interesting. Children are given responsibility early. Not big things, not overwhelming things, small things. Putting away their toys, organizing their space, helping in simple tasks. Not because parents need help, but because children need identity. Because here's the truth. What a child does repeatedly becomes what they believe about themselves. If a child is always told, be good, that's just a rule. But if a child experiences every day, I take care of my things, I stay calm when it's hard, I finish what I start, that becomes identity. And identity is far more powerful than rules. This is why many parents struggle. They focus on correcting behavior. They give consequences. They reward good actions. But they miss the deeper layer. They're shaping actions, but not identity. Korean parents approach it differently. They don't just tell the child what to do. They show them consistently, this is who you are. And children rise to that every time. Now think back to the child in the park. That moment where the crying slowed, where the breathing changed, where the tension softened. That wasn't just a one-time win. That was practice. Practice of emotional control, practice of patience, practice of self-regulation. And when moments like that repeat again and again, they stop being moments. They become patterns, and patterns become identity. So eventually, the child doesn't need the parent to step in. They don't need to be told to calm down. They already know how, because it's part of who they are. That's the goal. Not perfect behavior, not constant obedience, but a child who understands themselves. A child who can feel something difficult and not be controlled by it. A child who can pause, breathe, and handle it. And that doesn't come from punishment. It comes from something much simpler. Small actions, repeated daily. So here's something practical. Start small. Just one thing. Maybe it's letting your child finish something on their own, letting them sit with frustration a little longer, giving them one small responsibility every day. No pressure, no rewards, no punishments. Just repetition, just expectation, just trust. Give it time. A few days won't change much, but a few weeks, a few months, that's when you start to see it, not just in what your child does, but in who they become. Because calm children aren't created in big moments. They're built in small ones.